Hello, everyone. This is Mustafa, your digital marketing specialist. I'm coming at you with another recording. This is a podcast and also it's on YouTube. On today's broadcast, I just wanted to talk about this phenomenon of publishing books. We see, everyone nowadays is publishing a book. It has become very easy, very accessible, and everyone can do it now. I was on social media yesterday, and a person that I was familiar with, I didn't even know they had published a book. And I was like, wow, okay, neat, cool. And of course, I've published books myself over the past 4 years, and I have other books in the pipeline that I'm going to be producing. And it just seems like, every other day you're looking that someone is publishing a book, either through Amazon, through Kindle, through other print on demand providers and services that, everybody's producing a book. And I've been in the game for a long time, and I've had desire to produce books for a long time. But when I had the desire back in the late 90s going into the 2000s, it was very hard back then if you was not, a celebrity or, someone famous or, rich, or, you did something extraordinary to catch the attention of these publishing houses where they would, take a chance on you and publish a book. It was very, very hard for the everyday person who had a great idea and didn't have a lot of money and didn't have resources and didn't have connections. It was very, very hard back then, and even if you went through a publishing house, it was so many you know cons to that, in my opinion, of going through a publishing house. Or you had to go through a vanity press, and even with that, you had to buy so many minimum book copies, where that became a financial expense and a hurdle. And then, you had to find someone to do the layout, and you had to find someone to proofread, and someone to do the cover. And it was an expense back then, where, when I started adding up those costs, I was going to try to, self publish back then, 25 years ago. And I started counting up those costs, and I was like, oh, no, that's the barrier to entry is too high. And then they was saying you have to buy, hundreds of copies of your own book, going through a vanity press just to have that may not sell. So I was just like, that took away my ability, to produce a book 25 years ago. But we're now in this modern era of print on demand, where anybody and everybody literally can publish a book, upload a PDF file, upload a cover, and boom, you're a published author. And you don't have to buy a lot of stock and have a bunch of books sitting around the house like you may have did, back in the day, and have boxes upon books that may or may not sell. And then, that's, what it was. So with this new modern way of publishing, everybody's getting into it. So it may seem like the luster of producing a book is not as bright and shiny as it once was. Where if you published a book, as I say, all of the hurdles that you had to go through, it automatically signaled that, man, some publishing company must think you're great. They took a shot out on him or her, so let me listen to what they got to say you know so it was an exclusivity of those who were published authors, because it wasn't so easy to get into, and for you to get into it, it just automatic signals there's something great about you. And there's still that aura today when you become a published author, self-published, or going through the print on demand process. It still has a luster, but with everyone now publishing a book, it's becoming more common. It's becoming more the norm, more of an accepted practice of people having a book, being able to introduce themselves and saying, "This is my book." So In this podcast, I just wanted to set it up that way. In this podcast, I want to talk about the subject of everyone is creating a book. So now what? What do you do when we're in an era now where everyone is publishing a book? Should you still publish a book if everybody's publishing a book? To answer that straight to the point, you should still publish a book. Because even though everybody may be publishing a book, they're not you publishing a book. As you may have heard on an earlier episode, I talked about the power of a personal brand, where if 100 people are doing the same thing, it's still not you doing that thing. And you will bring your own uniqueness, your own flavor, your own perspective to that thing that everybody else may be doing. So if 99 people produce a book, make sure you're the 100th person to produce a book, because your book is a outgrowth expression of your personal brand, who you are. Even if you're addressing the same subject as 5 other people, your perspective is going to be a little bit different. It's going to have your flavor, it's going to have your story behind that book. So absolutely still publish your book. Don't be dismayed of thinking that everybody's publishing is not exciting no more. It's going to be exciting when you publish your book, because you are publishing the book. It's going to be very exciting. So now what? They say it is said that a book is the new business card. Some people agree with that, some people disagree with that. But it is said that a book is the modern most powerful business card. Because as you know, back in the day, and even now, I guess people still pass out business cards, even though we're in a more digital technical era. But people would pass out their business card if you were in business or in some type of industry, to remind the people of you, to contact you, to keep you on their mind in times of need. But the book is so powerful because, what depending on what your industry is in, when you go to pitch yourself or seek business or seek to provide service, you can now also present the book as well. That 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 creates the perception that you are the subject matter expert on this particular subject. You are a specialist on this subject. You are in the know on this subject. Uh, let's say you're a motivational speaker and you're trying to, let's use an example. You're a motivational speaker, right? And you're trying to pitch yourself to the person who signs and brings on speakers for a company or an event, right? The event planner. And you come to them and you bring your speaker one sheet and you say, hey, I'm a motivational speaker. I've been speaking for a few years. These are some of the audiences I've been speaking to, blah, 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 blah. And then in the midst of you presenting that picture of you, you also say, I also wrote a book on motivation, or 5 ways to motivate yourself in down times, or 10 steps to improve your self-esteem and self-image. Now, many other people may pitch themselves as speakers or motivational speakers or sub in that arena, but when you come with a book, it kind of gives you a slight edge, because depending on how you approach your motivational speaking and what expertise or area that you come in, it kind of gives you that edge, makes you look like the expert, the one. And we can do this in so many different industries. If you're pitching yourself as a cook or a nutritionist or a dietitian or someone who does personal trainer, excuse me. If you're pitching yourself to clients as a personal trainer, right? And then using the same example as a motivational speaker, you also say, I wrote a book on personal training. here are 10 quick ways to lose weight in 90 days, or here's a way to gain muscle and strengthen yourself as a man, or here's a book on how to get in shape and strengthen yourself after 40, after 50, after 60, whatever, decades you may want to go in. And you know what that does for the perception of you? That not only are you pitching yourself as a personal trainer, but you also wrote the book on personal training in your particular lane, in your particular perspective. That puts you so far ahead in the mind of your prospects of so many others who may just come and say, I'm a personal trainer, I do PT. So everyone is creating a book, but they're not you creating that book. So still create your book, because it's going to help be that business card for yourself, and it's going to announce loudly and boldly that I am a subject matter expert. I am a specialist. I am in the know. And not only am I saying that, I have codified and structured in a book format my knowledge, my tips, my expertise, the things that I talk about. It is here in this book, and it's going to take you far and miles ahead of so many others. So, everyone is producing a book, but you still should produce your book. And look at a book like this. Look at the book as being like a door to the brand of you. And what do I mean by that? See, if you sell a person a book and they buy the book, they read the book, enjoy the book, then what? What's the next step? So don't just produce a book, produce a brand around the book, produce that personal brand of yourself. Allow the book to be a door to enter into your ecosystem of your personal brand, where they can get other benefits, other services, other products from you. See, the book, can be the door to your ecosystem of your personal brand. And in that ecosystem, you may have shirts. See, if you're a motivational speaker, you may have a bunch of shirts that you produce with motivational quotes and words on them that will inspire people and allow them to keep their spirits uplifted. See, the book was the door that brought them into the ecosystem to find out, wow, he or she has shirts, he or she has planners, he or she has courses, he or she has other audio products I can buy or listen to. They have a podcast, they have a blog, they got articles, they got social media. I can do coaching with them. I can do consulting. I do one. That book is a door that brings them into your personal brand. So look at a book like that as a business card, but also look at it as that door to bring them into your ecosystem, into your world. And when you bring them into your world, have something to offer them in your world. So that's another way of looking at a book, that it's a door to you. It's their first introduction to you. It is, if we're going to the restaurant, it's the appetizer. But if you're really hungry, you don't stop at the appetizer. The appetizer just gets you started, gets you excited, gets you going. But you still want the main course. Once you offer the appetizer of your book, you still got to offer them the main course. Or the main course is, the things that will satisfy and fill them of knowledge, of information, of inspiration, of guidance. That's how you look at your book. That is one step in the steps of your process. So everyone is creating a book, but you still have to produce your book. And I hope that by hearing this, that you will be excited and desirous of producing your book, because it's only going to make you greater and create your brand and your awareness and your greatness. As I said today, It is way, way easier than it was 20 years ago or even 10 years ago to produce a book. Another video for another time. I would like to break down and explain, that process of producing a book. I'll probably do that in video format because some things you need to see. And when I found out 4 years ago how easy it is to produce a book, it's easy. It's a little bit. I won't say it's hard. There are steps that you have to take that may appear to be difficult, but it's so easy overall to produce that book. And when I found out how easy it was to produce a book and how economically feasible it was that it wouldn't break the bank, I've been on a book producing kick ever since. And it's been my desire to want to help other people produce their book because I believe that every one of us have at least one book in us and may have a series of books in us that will expand from that one book that we produce. But to get started, that journey of a great journey starts with one step. So focus on getting the first book out, and then if you so desire and you feel inspired, go ahead and produce the next book and the next book and the next book, and produce a whole series of books on your subject that you're the expert in. And we'll talk about that on another video. So, family, this is Mustafa, your digital marketing specialist. Just wanted to put that on your mind that everyone's creating a book. You see everybody announcing a book every other day. You see it being more common as time goes on with the print on demand revolution. And I believe in the years to come, we're going to see everybody producing a book, including little children. Everybody's going to be producing a book, but they're not you. It's not your book yet. It's not your expertise out there. So don't be discouraged or think that, your time has passed. That no, go ahead and put that book out, family. Produce your book. Let the world see your name on the cover. Let the world open up the book and be inspired by the knowledge that you have put between the covers of that book, page after page after page. Let them learn of you. And as I sum up, let the book be your calling card. Let the book be your business card. And lastly, let the book be a door to the ecosystem of your personal brand. Those are the three things I want you to take away today. Let that book, the last thing, let that book be the doorway to the ecosystem of your personal brand. And make sure you have something for them to receive when they enter the door of your book and come into your ecosystem. Whether it's your blog, your podcast, your merch, t-shirts, um, downloadable products, courses, whatever it may be, just let them find something on the other side of that door when they enter the ecosystem of your book. All right. So this is Mustafa, your digital marketing specialist. Check me out on social media. Check me out on YouTube. Check out other episodes of the podcast, information, inspiration, and I have a new book that will be coming out sometime in the new year, and possibly two books actually that I'm working on. I got two ideas that I'm working on. They're in the production line right now. So depending on when you hear this message, they may be published. If it's sometime in 2025 when you're hearing this message, just look me up on Amazon under Mustafa, your digital marketing specialist, that name. And the book may be there. I think you will enjoy what I'm getting ready to put together. It's going to kind of, as I say, just put all this information in a structured book format that you can follow step by step and be guided and inspired. So, Mustafa, your digital marketing specialist. See you on another episode. Peace.